the Prime Minister has diminished his office and our country by his post, and arguably the Indian government as a whole, which includes the Home Ministry, has diminished our country by agreeing to play against Pakistan for the greed of money. I don't know whether he composed the tweet. He certainly approved it and it's gone out in his name. But it was hasty, ill-conceived, politically imprudent, and as I said, absolutely unbefitting of his office.
A naked man has little to no influence on society. In clothes like this, you step out and you know that you're going to turn heads. You know that you're going to create an impression of a person who cares deeply about the way they look and has a finer eye for detail. And, that seems to be the Bombay Shirt Company way. What I really love about these clothes, and I really mean this, is this looks like a man has walked into the room. I like that. It's nice.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. India has won the Asian Cricket Cup, and my congratulations to the team for this sporting triumph. But today we raise fundamental questions about the wider behavior of the team and indeed of our own Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. Was it fitting and proper, or was it questionable and possibly even unethical? My guest is the well-known historian and cricket commentator and author of the Commonwealth of Cricket, Ramachandra Guha. Ram Guha, let's start with the post that Mr. Modi put up on his platform, which compared the Asian Cricket Cup final triumph with Operation Sindoor. He called it Operation Sindoor on the games field. Is that a fitting sentiment to be expressed by the Prime Minister of a democracy after a cricket victory?
It isn't, and before I explain why, let me also add my words of congratulation to the Indian cricket team for their sporting triumph, which was absolutely not a political triumph, let alone a military triumph. So that tweet, I don't know who wrote it on the Prime Minister's behalf, for which I hope he didn't actually approve it. And if he had good sense, he would delete it now. Really cheapened his office, diminished his office, because what if Pakistan had won the match? It was a close match. Would that have been humiliation for India? Would that have lessened the sacrifice and the valor of our soldiers? So it was an extremely poor taste, and again, it also reduced us down to the level of Pakistan. Because if Pakistan had won, that's what General Munir would have said, something like that. And the Indian Prime Minister, the head of a very large, the most populous country, which claims to be a democracy, so stand above it. And of course, sport and politics should not be mixed. I mean, to go back to the debate around the tournament itself and the matches, either you don't play with Pakistan, you boycott them on grounds of principle. You say you stand by your argument they're a sponsor of terror and you don't play against them, just as we didn't play against apartheid rule South Africa in cricket or tennis and other sports, or you play against them and at least achieve the basic decorum. That was what was asked. That is what was demanded of our cricketers, and our Prime Minister should have stayed absolutely silent about the fray, not tweeted whether we won or lost. I mean, it diminished his office.
You know, you say, and you said it twice, that this has diminished and cheapened the Prime Minister's office. What does it reveal of the Prime Minister himself? That a human being who was head of the country should have chosen to tweet in this fashion after a cricket triumph. What does it tell us about the PM himself?
So, see, Karan, before I pass a moral verdict on the Prime Minister for this particular incident, I may on others where I have more information. I don't know whether he composed the tweet. He certainly approved it, and it's gone out in his name. But it was hasty, ill-conceived, politically imprudent, and as I said, absolutely unbefitting of his office. So, maybe he'll have a rethink. If you see all the comments on Mr. Modi's tweet, and all the top comments are deeply dismayed, and the commentators are dismayed and critical. They say, you should have boycotted them. What have you done? Because of the BCCI's greed for money, and the Pakistan, you have caved into the mutual greed that the BCCI and the Pakistan Cricket Board have. You've got thousands of crores, and what will this be used for? So I think, as I said, who composed the tweet? We do not know. It went in the Prime Minister's name, so we presume it had his approval at the time. But as he reconsiders it, it may be, he's too proud a man to lose face by deleting a tweet. I mean, some of us, if he says something careless or foolish, are happy to acknowledge a mistake and tweet it. But it's not in the Prime Minister's nature to acknowledge mistakes, including such a colossal mistake like demonetization, which basically devastated our economy. So that may not be in his nature. But if he considers what he did, the feedback, perhaps he'll be more wise in what he says in public about such subjects in future.
You made a very good point. If the Indian cricket team or Indian politicians were so committed that we are not going to play with Pakistan, we're not going to shake hands with Pakistan, then the suitable thing to do was opt out of the cricket match, forfeit the points, risk losing the championship, but maintain your position. But compromise of playing Pakistan, earning the money that comes with the playing of Pakistan, and yet refusing to shake hands and refusing all the obligatory courtesies is not just unsportsmanlike and churlish. Tell me, am I right in saying it goes against the very spirit of cricket?
Absolutely. Not just cricket, but of sport. And again, let me bring in an instance from history, because your younger viewer may not know of this, and possibly, Karan, you may not know of this either. In 1974, India reached the challenge round of the Davis Cup, which was the final. We would play Rhodesia, which, like South Africa, was an apartheid state. With Vijay Amritraj and Anand Amritraj, we would have won that tournament. We would have been world champions for the first time and only time. But on principle, we refused to play against a government that practiced institutionalized racism. Now, that brought us honor. It didn't bring us a title, it brought us honor. But once Rhodesia was readmitted, if India was to play against them, they would shake hands. And even if there was political bad blood or animosity, they would shake hands. So there were only two options that would have brought India credit. The first was to say we will not play Pakistan despite that money that comes into the BCCI coffers because of the recent tragic killing of tourists in Pahalgam, relatively recent, which very likely bore the hand of the Pakistani deep state. That would have been the best position to take. However, if the government gave the go-ahead to the BCCI to play the tournament, then observe the mutual courtesies, shake the hand of the Pakistani captain, and essentially, we have brought ourselves politically, institutionally, morally down to the level of Pakistan. That's what the BCCI and the Prime Minister have done.
Let me ask you a further question. Yesterday, after the championship was over, the match was won, India were the champions of the Asian Cricket Cup. The team refused to accept the trophy from the hands of the president of the Asian Cricket Council because the same gentleman, Mohsin Naqvi, happens to be the Interior Minister of Pakistan. How do you view that act of refusing to accept the cup from the hands of Mohsin Naqvi?
Well, the argument given in public, the spin given in public is that Mr. Mohsin Naqvi issued some provocative tweets. But the original, which he indeed did. But the original error, it's too inconsequential error to call it a sin. But the original mistake was made when we played Pakistan for the first time, and the Indian cricket team, surely not on their own, but under orders from almost certainly the Home Ministry, refused to shake hands. So this escalating war of words and nastiness on both sides, to which both sides contributed. Pakistani cricketers, Indian cricketers, Mr. Naqvi, Jay Shah or whatever, whoever the BCCI president is. But essentially, and we are the large. We should be above this. I'll give you one last example from history. When the Indo-Pak War of 1971 took place, which everyone remembers, unlike the 1974, Davis Cup, everyone remembers. Indian and Pakistani cricketers were playing in a tour in Australia. And actually, I will not take names. They were playing for a World 11 against Australia. And actually, an Indian player and a Pakistani player even shared rooms. Because the sports is beyond politics, it's above politics, it's also much less important than politics. That's the last point I'd just like to dwell on for 2 sentences. It's much less important than politics. Our Prime Minister's post on X equated it with politics. He equated a victory of 11 cricketers over another 11 cricketers with a military battle. So he diminished the Indian identity, the military, our sense of patriotism with this kind of absurdly illogical and possibly immoral equation.
Let's focus for a moment on what you didn't call the original sin. You corrected yourself, but let's focus for a moment on that. Do you believe the Indian cricket team diminished itself?
Yes.
So behaved churlishly by refusing to shake hands with the Pakistani team that they had just beaten, not once but on 3 consecutive occasions. Was that in the spirit of cricket, or was it churlish and unbecoming?
It was not, and let me add that real Pakistani cricket fans feel that the Pakistani cricketers who mimic planes flying down also diminish the spirit of cricket. So when you play a cricket, either you don't play, your governments decide these 2 nations hate each other, or they can't abide the politics of the other nation, and you don't play. Or if you play, you observe at least the courtesy that sports demands of you. So the Indian and the Pakistani cricketers were both guilty of unsportsmanlike conduct, and in each case, not on their own, but under orders from their political masters. Again, one more illustration from recent history. There was a Champions Trophy match between India and Pakistan about 3 or 4 years ago. Being played in England. Babar Azam, the Pakistani captain, and the Indian captain, Virat Kohli, went out for the toss. They shook hands, and as they were walking away, the microphone called Babar Azam saying, "Best of luck, Virat bhai." And Kohli said something like, "Thanks, and to you too." Now, so if you play cricket or any sport, that at least must be observed. I think, as I said, the wisest thing for the BCCI to have done, and the BCCI, let's be absolutely blunt about it, the BCCI does not take decisions on its own. Its decisions are taken in New Delhi in the offices of the Home Ministry. So, the BCCI, the Home Ministry should have said, and the Prime Minister should have endorsed that position, that we will not play Pakistan. That would have been the wisest thing to do, because we have come out tarnished. I mean, our Prime Minister has come out tarnished, and that should worry everyone, including those who do not vote for the BJP.
My last question, Ram Guha. The way the Indian team conducted themselves before or after all 3 matches with Pakistan has been seen and viewed by the world. The way the Prime Minister tweeted will be soon known to the world. The way we refuse to accept the trophy from the hands of Mohsin Naqvi will be known to the world. Has all of this diminished India's standing as a proud democracy?
Karan, there's a problem in your question, and I will take strong issue with the way you posed it. You have equated the Indian cricketers with the Indian Prime Ministers. The Indian cricketers just know how to play cricket. They don't know the wisdom of statesmanship. They don't know what to do when it comes to a social or political or religious or nationalistic debate. So your question was wrongly phrased. The Prime Minister has diminished his office and our country by his post, and arguably the Indian government as a whole, which includes the Home Ministry, has diminished our country by agreeing to play against Pakistan for the greed of money. Let's not blame our cricketers, because they are just pawns in this game, just as the Pakistani cricketers are pawns in the game of their politician.
All right, Ram, I live with that correction. I thank you for this interview, and I hope the country is listening to what I believe are ethical words of wisdom, that we must not equate sport and politics. And when it comes to sport, there's a certain ethical behavior, a certain obligatory courtesy that you are honor bound to observe. Not to do so diminishes you, it diminishes the team, and it affects the country's reputation. I thank you for this interview. Take care. Stay safe.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
A naked man has little to no influence on society. In clothes like this, you step out and you know that you're going to turn heads. You know that you're going to create an impression of a person who cares deeply about the way they look and has a finer eye for detail. And, you know, that seems to be the Bombay Shirt Company way. What I really love about these clothes, and I really mean this, is this looks like a man has walked into the room. I like that. You know, it's nice.